Well, hi there. It's Friday night, and we're going to do some programming. If there's one thing I do enjoy doing, regardless of getting paid, it is expressing how to organize data and connect information and make meaningful representations of data. And when it comes to sports algorithms, that's one that's pretty interesting for that because you can bet on it. So I'm going to talk about some programming enhancements and some things that you need to do with the algorithms. And I'm going to announce that we're going to do Discord server access. And it's $25 a week, and you can pick a sport that you want to follow, and I'll give you access to see everything I'm posting when it's updated. Results, we're just going to keep a running thread on this channel. So I'm doing hockey right now, and I'll also move over to college basketball in a second. And you'll get access to it for a week for 25 bucks. So you can go purchase in the link in the description if you want it. I think that's a reasonable price. A lot of you that have dabbled in the algorithms have liked to pay about that amount to get some access to see some picks. So that's the price I'm going to put on it. And if you want to copy the algorithm, depending on what you want, I can sell you one as well for a reasonable price. I don't know, depending on what sport it is. All right, now let's talk about hockey. So I just updated the goaltenders. And I realized, because I haven't been completely oblivious to everything that's been going on in hockey, even though I haven't been keeping track for the last week, been driving through every country, every part of the country. Anyway, point is, I want to talk about what we can do with this. And I'm also going to do some enhancements to college basketball, which are pretty easy to do. And it's going to explain some pretty cool features of pivot tables and calculated fields. And we're going to start to do some analysis on things starting tonight because it's not that big of a schedule. But let's go to hockey real quick. So I haven't been keeping every single game in the cube. I missed some days here. I know there was an all-star break, but I still missed some games. So our history is not perfect, but that's not the real problem with hockey. The real problem is this. I have not been oblivious to hockey, and I have noticed that there have been big trades, like Bo Horvat, like went to the Islanders, like a bunch of stuff happened. Now, we have a sheet called the matrix here in the hockey algorithm, and that is where we keep track of everybody's team and who they play for. Oh no is the self check that I built in here to look at something and say, wait a minute, the team that's showing up that we have them on is not the team that is being called from the player stats sheet anymore, which is this one. And this one, I believe, gets updated by RotoWire as soon as the trade happens. And they move all the stats to the other team, I believe. Let's double check that. Because what we have here, whenever you see an no, it means they are now retired and they used to play for Florida. So we could double check this on RotoWire, see what's going on here, but it's probably going to stay retired. Free agent is FA. So what we can do is we can change the master matrix to match that, and the oh no goes away. And that's usually the solution. So probably Aturati was part of that trade and is now in Vancouver. Lance Peterson is probably now on Columbus. We're just going to assume that they're right and that the RotoWire player stats sheet is right. So every time there's an oh no, really, you should check this every day. I don't know who this Patrol, unless he played for Toronto tonight, which I don't think he did. Free agent, Joe Cambarosa. A lot of action happened. And I think the trade deadline might have passed. So we might actually not have to do this as much as you would think. Jake Lecision is a Ranger, and the Rangers have been on fire and they're up 3-0 tonight already. So this is how you update, because this matters. This is going to contribute to point projections and players. Who does Phoenix comically play for? LA, apparently. So a lot of stuff. And it's kind of cool if you follow sports to see where people went by doing this manually. I could sort this just by oh no's. Let's do that. And errors. um okay. So we've got oh no's and errors. And Jonas Johansson. The Avalanche are not playing well. They just got spanked by Tampa Bay the other night. Colin Delia played for Vancouver. Aiden Primo is still in Montreal. San Jose. Boy, a lot of how many we got here? All right, not that many more. Now we could just copy them over, but I kind of like the look. Vladimir Tarasenko is a Ranger now? No way. That's why I like to look. What? Wow, that's why they're on fire. Wow. So you're telling me you got Tarasenko and Panarin? Yikes. Yikes. Oh my goodness. All right, so yeah, some big names. All right, so Seattle is Eli Tovanen. Dryden Hunt is now in Toronto. Dennis Malgin is on Colorado. So Colorado and Toronto made moves, and Colorado's haven't panned out from the first game with Tampa Bay. Beauvillier is, I think, a good player. He moved to Vancouver in this big Horvat trade. Nico Mikkola is now a Ranger. Carson Coolman is now a Winnipeg Jet. This guy hasn't played yet. Megna is on Seattle. Tyson Jost is on Buffalo. Connor Timmins on Toronto. Oop. Rudolph Balcers is on Tampa Bay. Lucas Sedlak is now a free agent. Bo Horvat is now an Islander. Matt Nieto is on Colorado. Nikita Shoshinoff is a free agent. Ryan Reeves is on Minnesota. Sammy Blais is now, who do you used to play for? New York Rangers. Okay. Jason Megna is now in Anaheim, and Martin Kaut is now on San Jose. Okay, so that should do it. All right, now what does that do? So because we've just changed and updated all the players apparently that have played the game supposedly, the way we can another way we can check that is we can look for any errors. So I usually just sort this and then go down. And I don't think there are no errors here. And then in goalie stats, we can look for any errors, sort of. Let's see here. Streamline, are there any streamline name errors? Yes. Dylan Wells is on Chicago. And we should add him to the matrix. And the goaltenders have a special formula different from the players because it's a different sheet. And that's this formula in green. So you got to copy just really that one cell. And that will work. Yep. All right. So I believe we've updated everything we can. Now what happens is the players pivot's going to change because a bunch of the players have moved teams. It's supposed to. I guess maybe I already refreshed, I think. The results pivot may change. Let's look at our scores and stuff right here and our percentages. If I haven't already pressed refresh. It doesn't change at all. Well, maybe I pressed refresh along the way, actually, and that did change. But well, here's how we can tell on Discord. This is the cool thing. So if we just take a snapshot, I'll be able to take a snapshot and you can't see it on the screen, but I'll be able to just add it to the Discord. And it will be this. And I know some stuff changed because there were goaltender changes. So if we look at the Discord history, you'll see that it had Seattle barely winning and they were at a 49. Now they're all of a sudden ahead in percentage after we've made all these changes. If stuff's accurate. I feel like those players didn't affect any of these teams, even though a bunch of people moved to the Rangers. So how did that not change? It gives the Rangers a really good chance of winning this game because of their streak, which is half wrong because I don't have it complete. So weird stuff, but they're up 3-0. Toronto's up 1-0. That's expected. And here it predicts a really close game. Really, yeah, either way. And then Pittsburgh. All right. So we showed how to update the names here to get this accurate because this will affect stuff, even though I didn't see any visual changes anywhere. How is that possible? Let's just double check by opening up like the Rangers or something. All right. I just want to see Tarasenko on there. Oh, he's there. Not got good stats this year for some reason. Well, there you go. And we could also do one more thing, which is I just want to make sure there's not two records for Tarasenko for both teams. There aren't. Yeah, they're throwing all games as if he was on the Rage. I love that. That's exactly what I want to do with the stat, and RotoWire makes it easy. All right, so that's your hockey update. Now we're going to program college basketball. I did unfortunately bet tonight. I bet the over 5.5 in this game. So watch them score no more goals at all. I bet Toronto -1.5, and I bet Chicago. We'll see what happens. All right, now let's go over to college basketball. So here's the cool thing I want to do here is I'm looking for ways to take advantage of the artificial intelligence here, meaning we've got a program that is kicking out a lot of relevant information and putting it together and putting it in believe it or not is a fairly coherent format for all the information you're getting here. And it's allowing you to really make educated decisions about teams. Like, who can watch all these college basketball games? Impossible. But I can get a really good, I can just look at this thing and probably have an idea of what game might happen. Well, not only does it pick winners, but I mean, by hand entering in scores, as I have done so many times forever, which is enjoyable though in some fashion, because you get to see how the algorithm did and why. And when you start to see that, you start to say, well, all right, you should be able to take advantage of more than just a money line in a game with all the information you're getting from the algorithm. Could you also take advantage of total points? And it got me to thinking, well, we have all the tools that we need to add total points and to make a comparison in here. So why not show you the programming process of how you do that? All right. Well, you've got a projected score. And this game actually, I believe, is done. Kent State won 72-65. Okay. So our score came out about 8 to 10 points higher than it should have. They win by 7. We had them winning by 5, and they had to cover 4. So they do cover if you follow the algorithm's projected scoring advice. All right. Now, over underwise, we predicted 155 points, and there were only 137. Right. I don't know what the over under was, but wait a minute. Yeah, I do. It's right here. So watch this. What we're going to do is we are going to add the over under total to the cube. All right. Over under total. Okay. So, all right. So here's what we're going to do. So because this is a total, we have to make sure that we add the right number together, because we're actually going to have the total show right here. Well, if the game is a home or away game is how you determine which game is which. If the game is an away game, put away in quotation marks. You say, all right, well, if the game's an away game, then we're at the first row of the game. So all we have to do is add this plus this, and we're going to get the total. If it's not an away game, then you're going to be down a row. So you got to know where you are, and you have to say, well, it's going to be the one to the right plus the one above it. And what's going to happen? And that'll probably do it. So now pull that formula down, and now we get over under totals of each game probably correct. It looks good. So, well, what was the actual total of the game? How are we going to incorporate this right in here into our pivot so that we can do some cool stuff? Well, let's create some space in our pivot here. And we're going to do some calculated fields within the within this pivot table. So the way to do that is you're going to go to the field list first, because what we want to do is we want to add our we want to take the number we just created. I didn't even need to do it. I just did in the cube. We could do it a different way, but that's kind of funny. Actually, let's compare the two. I'll show you. So there's 2 different ways to do this at least. First thing we could do is add the field that we just created here, which is called the total points field, the over under total field. We can bring that in at the very end. It'll be the last thing we have now. It's going to pop on the end in column Z. And we want to make it a sum, actually, is fine, not a count. And now you get the projected total points is what this actually is, because it's our projected points. It's not the actual over under. All right. There is an actual over under, and we need to bring that in. So the actual over under, the published, or the odds over under, all right, is going to be, okay, it's actually, sorry, it's going to show up in the proper spot right here. We can pull that formula down. And yep, that's perfect. That's giving us the actual over-under. So we thought the Kent State game was going to have 155. The over-under was 153, and it was way under. All right. So there's an actual result, all right, of total points. And I'm going to do that in a calculated field because I'm going to show you the other way to do that in the pivot table. So now we're going to refresh. And now we've got the odds over-under total. Okay. And that needs to be a sum, and that's fine. Okay. So this thing, we want to compare the two. So if we go to fields and items and sets in the pivot table analyze menu up at the top, we do this thing called a calculated field. And what we're going to have is we're going to have, this is going to be the odds over under less projected over under. So we're taking whatever the odds were and whether or not, whatever that number is, and we're going to subtract what ours was. And then we're going to compare it to the actual, I think. But I want to see the huge variance between the projected and the odds, right? So it's odds over under total minus the fields pop up in names right here. And we're going to add it, and let's see what happens. Should pop up on the end. Or I have to bring it to the end. I have to bring it to the end. Okay. And so this thing just popped up here on the end. All right. Now we got something. So what do we do now? Well, so this is odds over under difference or something. I want to color this thing because it seems like this will be fun to look at color-wise. Let's just bring this down. So we're going to do color scales where green is big and red is small, and then we're going to apply that to the entire field by editing the rule and going okay and apply. All right. So now what we have is we have this weird way of looking at where the projected score and the actual and the published over under differ a ton. But we also have an actual total points of the game, which is another calculated field that we're going to do right now. That calculated field is going to be called actual total points, right? And that should be final result plus opponent score. There's like different scores down here. There's not projected score. There's win game. How do I not have line value odds? Uh-oh, where is it? So it's final score and opponent score. So it should be after projected score. Oh, it's right here. Opponent projected. Oh, right. I got you. I see what's going on. Okay. Final score is called something else, maybe. All right. Opponent score is going to be in here. That's one of them. Where's the final score one? There's opponent. Is it alphabetical? No, it's not. So we're trying to find this one right here, which projected, opponent projected, win game. I'm probably just blind. Sorry, we're slow here, but I can't find it. Margin of victory. No, it ain't that. There's all kinds of crazy fields in here. Well, over odds. Boy, there's a lot. Well, all right, I'm gonna not do that, and I'm just gonna bring it into the cube the other way to solve this, which is there's gonna be a final total points. And the final total points is the same formula as this, except only difference is instead of these numbers, it's these numbers right here. So you can literally physically move the formula with your mouse and be good. Okay. And so we have a final total points, and we'll add that in because I can't figure out where the other field was. And that's now going to show up right here. And we're going to bring that all the way down to the bottom. All right. We finally got there. So what we have now, and you'll see where I'm getting with, there is a goal to all of this in the video here. So this is the final total points. Well, so a lot of these games we don't have done yet, but some of them are finishing up. But we're going to use this one as an example, and then we're going to start to be able to sort or do their calculated field. So what happened was, it's like a over under correct, right? Yes or no. And the over under correct that we're trying to figure out here is, well, here we have a final total point number. We'll do the formula down here. We have a final total point number. We have a projected total point number, which is right here. And then we have what the odds makers guessed it was going to be. And we essentially, we were 2.5 over the odds makers, I guess is what this negative 2.5 means, right? Well, we lose here because we're over the over under and they ended up going under. So we got to start formulating this thing and say, all right, yeah, there's going to be like 4 different if formulas probably here. If this is less than this, okay, so and then we got to put an and in here. So we've got a couple different things that are going to go on here. So we've got, first thing is if the total points are less than the over under and the total points are less than, oh no, it's not the way you want to do this. You want to say if the over under is greater than the published over, if our projected is greater than the published over under, in this situation, the answer is we lose. Okay. Well, if our number had been lower, so we get another and we're going to start. If our number was lower, the other situation, if this number was lower than this number, okay, and the same thing occurred, meaning the actual total points were less than the published over under, in that case, it would have been a win because we would have predicted under and the game would have gone under. It didn't happen that way. That would be a win. All right. I'm telling you, there's going to be 4 of these, I think. The next one would be, well, what if this game had been an over, right? So we're going to say if this game was over the total and we had said that we were over the total, it would have been a win. And let's just do the other one. Sometimes there are 8 of these. I think there's just 4 of these. If this had been over the over and we were under the over, then loss, lose. Let's see if that works. Too many arguments? If and oh yeah, then we got to finish this thing off. Let's say nothing. Yeah, what else do I need to do? When do I got to close something off? Oh, I got to put ifs in front of my and. Sorry, ifs. Yeah, you can't just do another and. At least Excel, you have to know that, but it's syntax of this Boolean, you have to put the if in front of the and. And then we have to close a bunch of parentheses. Right here, I believe. Voila. We lost. Now we get to apply that formula everywhere. All right. So we've done a lot right now. All right. So are any of these games done yet? No, they're not. But I want to show you what this will eventually do is let's pretend we got every single score exactly right going forward. All right. And that was what the results were. It's going to fill itself in and it's going to tell you, these were a bunch of wins, right? And we'll color the wins and losses like I like to do by doing a text that contains the word win will be green. And anything that says lose will be red. Okay. And now we can also total these up. So this would be perfect if we did that. But what we're going to start to see is well, I actually think I need to reverse the signs of this over under because it's not making sense. The 2.5 means you've got an extra 2.5 you think the game is going to have in points in this game. So here's a huge 9, right? Here, like look at the biggest, let's start sorting this by the biggest numbers on here to see if we can catch the over-unders correct in these games. And the way to do that is to change this sort, more sort options. We're going to go, I guess descending by odds over under differential. And it didn't work. Let's try that again. More sort options. A differential. Sorry, I pressed the wrong one. Yeah. Wow. Okay. All right. Oh boy, this is going to make the algorithm better. Ooh. Okay. So I'll tell you what made this really interesting. So I thought this was out of order for a second. It ain't. It ain't out of order. And the reason why it ain't out of order is we apparently are projecting scores too high. No, too low. No, too high. Yeah, we're projecting scores too high. And that is fixable. Somebody has asked me what this thing is before, which is the magnifier. It's up here. And the answer is, I don't even know. It does something with the scores, but I don't even know. I gotta look around. Because you change it and weird stuff happens. Like make it 30, right? Watch what happens. These numbers are probably going to switch because the projections are going to switch. And we're still over predicting scores. See, like it didn't, like just making the magnifier 30 didn't do what you think it was going to do. Like it doesn't make things bigger necessarily. It's a weird distributor of score calculations or whatever. But let's see. All right. So today I have learned with this, and this is fun to follow on a day that doesn't have 100 million games like tomorrow, which is we are clearly, according to the odds makers, over predicting scores by a magnitude of 1 to 10 points. So it's obvious because of the 15 games today, 14 of them we have projected scores that are higher than the over-under totals. Well, that's a great thing to test today. That means that we will do exactly what happened in the Kent State game if the algorithm has a flaw here in its projected scores, which it probably does, which is we thought this Kent State Buffalo game was going to have more points, and it did not, and we lost the over-under bet. So our wins and losses for over-unders, which we will now add here, and we will say that it's a pretty easy formula. We're just going to move it around. We want to count up not column HH, but column AD. And what? I didn't win. Oh yeah, we did win 14 games because those scores are not done yet. Let's get those out of there. We didn't get every game exactly right. But yeah, your over-under wins and losses. We'll put the loss in there. But I'll add that and I'll do all that stuff. And you can see that we will start to get an idea not only if this is hitting over unders, I mean, maybe we're right. Maybe all the other games go over. And we're right. Or especially like these games go over or something. We may just have to shift our numbers down a notch a little bit, which is a very possible thing to do. I probably have something I'm waiting too much that's creating higher scores potentially. We'll find out. So yeah, so we did a lot of work. We updated players matrixing, which is boring, but also interesting to see how the trades panned out in big names changing teams. And we added total points to this, and it will be nice to go over this and see what happens and if we can find some trends in numbers and getting the, because if we start getting the numbers better, I would suspect that would have a positive impact on getting teams also to win and lose, I bet. So we shall see. All right, good luck. May all your picks be winning and all your forays into Excel and data analysis and incorporation into presentation. I hope they all go well and you get to see what you want to see. All right, good luck. Now your picks be winning.